My finest hour. I had been working with Richard Avedon in New York for a very ordinary client in the fashion industry. The theme was African print dresses. I wanted the models to be black and oily, dusty and dirty and wild. Lenny Riefenstahl's Nuba Women was the brief. Avedon asked me whether we could paint the models up, to which I said yes. He then asked me if he could put the skirt on the head. I swallowed hard and said yes. I didn't see the point of employing him and then not using him. I suggested a wild pig in the background. He said no. The subject itself is the story, a lesson in itself. He seemed to be enjoying the shoot, and I asked him why he was so enthusiastic when he was in a position to do whatever he wanted all the time. He said, "It's not true, Paul. I'm employed by Vogue, and they tell me what they want, and what they want is not always what I'm interested in, but I have a studio to run, so I do it." Quite the eye opener. I was freer than he was. After the shoot, I walked out of the studio onto 74th Street on a drizzly day with a yellow box of 10 by 8 Kodachromes under my arm. I remember the moment vividly. My feet seemed to not touch the pavement, and I thought, I'm going to get fired for these pictures. Would I rather be fired for having done them or not be fired having not done them? There was no doubt in my mind. I would rather be fired. Those few seconds on 74th Street were my greatest moment in advertising. When I got back and showed them to my partner, he thought I was mad. Fortunately, the client loved them. "This is art," he said. They won every award there was to be won. The sad conclusion is the client got fired. And here's a picture of Richard Avedon's work with indeed the skirt on the head. It's a little reading here from It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be, the world's best-selling book by Paul Arden. And again, he's talking about advertising here, and he's talking about taking risks, and he's talking about doing what he thought was right, which won him a whole lot of art awards, but got the client fired. It's important to know you can still win and lose at the same time. But
Well, it's never a zero-sum game, right? You always win some and you lose some in the same thing. It's duality, right?
But you got to decide what hill to die on. For him, it was listening to the artist, allowing the photographer to do what he wanted, regardless of the outcome, which involved wearing a skirt that's a dress on the head. Probably not the best advertisement, but certainly a eye-catching photo. It got your attention, right? Let's get started on Bitcoin Talk Show. Today is Saturday, August 4th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is down 5.42% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 7,015, a high of 7,533, and a low of 6,969. That's $1 for 14,271 Satoshis. Checking in on the top 10 altcoins, we have a choice ahead of us. We could do the top 10 altcoins by market cap or the top 10 altcoins by volume. Market cap is an indicator, so-called, of how much money the altcoins have to spend. Volume is a signifier of how often the altcoins are being traded. Usually, we do market cap. Let's do a quick rundown market cap, and then let's check the differences by volume. Ethereum down 2.5%, Ripple down 2.5%, Bitcoin Cash down 3.75%, EOS down 2%, Stellar down 9%, Litecoin down 2.5%, Cardano down 4.25%, Tether down 0.5 point, IOTA rounding out the 10th spot, but still down 9%. Tron sticking in there at number 11, down 7.75%. Looking at the difference over here in volume, we've got Bitcoin Cash second place, Ethereum third, EOS fourth, Litecoin fifth, Ripple sixth, Ethereum Classic, who's now going to be added to Coinbase, in at number 7, Tron in 8th place, Dash up to number 9, and something called Qtum in number 10. Interesting to see the differences between volume and market cap. As
Yeah, and
always,
we could maybe also put transaction volume in there, and how many transactions, both in number and in amount, were transacted over the network. Might also be interesting.
you could, but you'd find out that only Bitcoin is being used and the rest of the altcoins are paper tigers.
Exactly.
That's right. And as always, you can support the World Crypto Network by donating to the Bitcoin addresses on your screen or any of the crazy altcoins accepted by Trezor down below. You can also support the World Crypto Network Patreon at patreon.com/WCN or patreon.com/madbitcoins, where 80 patrons are now donating $483 a month, just under that $500 a month barrier. We are so close. Our Tallycoin fundraiser continues to grow. We've raised more than $156.96 towards our goal of $1 million to help spread the word about Bitcoin. You can donate now to the QR code on your screen at Tallycoin. Get your own Tallycoin fundraiser at tallyco.in. You can raise money for anything. Just bring your own Bitcoin address and turn it on at Tallycoin. Crypto Graffiti made this quick little Starbucks Photoshop. It says Star Bits Coffee, and she's got a Bitcoin logo on the star above her head. Pretty cool stuff.
Isn't that nice? And of course, you can go to Starblocks and get your first Bitcoin Lightning transaction in on testnet, which is where I got my first Bitcoin Lightning transactions. So if you want to get some Starblocks coffee, that is pretty similar to Starbits, check it out.
And very soon you'll be able to get actual Starbucks coffee for actual Bitcoin. You won't need any of those imposters stealing the Bitcoin name because Starbucks doesn't know they exist because they don't. Rhett Creighton writes, Satoshi mined all his own Bitcoin. Charlie Lee had to buy all his own Litecoin. Vitalik gave himself all his ETH in a pre-mine. Interesting comparison between the three founders. Philippe made a great Photoshop of the Bitcoin wave. Looks like it's coming up on maybe Manhattan or Chicago. And it's a big wave, and you are here. So just keep that in mind. Did someone say Neon District RPG? Check out this very cool trailer. Let's see. Maybe I can get it on the screen with sound. That's a good idea. Let me see. Just a second. But we're going to check out this trailer for Neon District. It's I'm not sure what it is, but it involves cryptocurrency. It's kind of an online game. I'm not sure if it's a card-based game or a turn-based game or what, but they've been talking about it for a while. They take Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and the plot seems to imply a lot of Bitcoin storytelling. So
Nice.
let's give this
And
a try.
oh, go ahead.
All right, at Neon District RPG. Let's see how it goes. Oh yeah, it doesn't play. This computer is a pain. So there it is. I don't have the Flash plugin or something like that on this computer, so that's not going to work.
The interesting question, however, is if they only quote unquote accept Bitcoin for buying the game, which would be nice already. But even better would be if they can integrate Bitcoin in the game itself, so that somehow you actually really do get cryptocurrencies in the game as a reward. But the trailer already looks amazing.
Yep, and it says no fiat. They have a sign, crypto only. Nations last out, and violence ensued in the streets and in the skies. Boom, boom, boom. Looks like it's an RPG. You can make characters. Some chose to carry on the revolution. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and then it
The
ends.
Blockstreet satellite. Nice.
Yeah, but that looks very cool. Check that out at Neon District RPG on Twitter. Just yesterday, we were talking about the telephone, and someone was saying, I don't know how the telephone rolled out. That was an interesting rollout. And yesterday, I happened to walk by this site where the first telephone was installed in Las Vegas. It was down by the casinos. It was right near the Plaza Hotel and the Golden Gate hotel on the old Fremont Street. So it was pretty cool. I imagine it was used by gamblers and bookies immediately after that. 10 minutes after the first telephone was placed, the first sports bet was made on the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know, but a funny story. Just walked by that plaque. There's the wave again. There's the trailer again. And I was going to try to play you this Brian Kelly thing, but apparently I don't have Flash on the other computer right now, something like that. But Brian Kelly went on TV yesterday on CNBC Fast Money. He said Bitcoin exchange ICE was the biggest news of the year. It paves the way for ETFs for Bitcoin. It's the biggest thing since Bitcoin futures, and the crypto market is underpricing Bitcoin. Naturally, after Brian Kelly did this, the price of Bitcoin declined about $500. You can just put these two together and think about what you want. Also, towards the end of this report, he reported a little bit on Ethereum Classic, which is being added to CoinDesk allegedly as they keep pumping it and they keep mentioning it and they keep pumping it. Apparently, it's up 12% overnight. And of course, BK thinks this is a buy because he's an endless chaser. He just chases things like a dog after an ambulance. Go get some Nautilus coin, BK. Get some Nautilus coin.
And the sad thing is, even the name, Fast Money, that is the complete opposite of what Bitcoin stands for. Keynesian money, fiat money, is the fast money approach, the get-rich-quick scheme. That is not what Bitcoin is all about. Bitcoin is slow money. Bitcoin is something that takes care of its own and takes time in developing. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, it's a get-rich-slow scheme. And that is, in my opinion, much more sustainable. So just the name of the show, and of course Brian Kelly himself, is just old world. We don't need that. We can do better. Come on.
They could just call it irresponsible investing or throwing darts at a stock board, something like that. And again, all these people should lose their jobs for not being right on Bitcoin. They were dead wrong on Bitcoin 5 years ago. Sure, they've changed their tune now, but that doesn't mean anything to the people who they advised not to buy Bitcoin over and over again 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. This entire time, they've been wrong. So if you want to believe them just because they put a Bitcoin ticker down here in the corner, good luck with that. Full nodes as your seat in the decentralized empire. A great new article from Chiara Robles at chiararobles.com asking everyone to run a full node. She says it's time for you to be involved in Bitcoin by running your own node. She talks about how the nodes confirm they are consensus validators and payment broadcasters. So if you want to confirm your own transactions, get them in the blockchain faster, and support the Bitcoin network, you can run your own full node. There used to be a service that would sell you a little box that would just act like a full node, but I'm not sure if they ever got up to production levels or if they were ever big enough. But
I think they do. It's they're called BitSeed, and they do sell, at least in the United States. I'm not sure in Europe, but you can just get a Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi costs you like $30. Terabyte hard drive, another $40-$50, and with that you have your Bitcoin full node. And then it's basic programming skills.
With that and a bunch of tech support that normal people don't want to do. I don't know how this BitSeed 3 is, but this is what we need is, well, again, they're saying it's perfect for Bitcoin developers and hobbyists. I'm looking for one that people just plug in and it works. If we really want people to do this like normal people, it's going to have to be quiet, plug it in and it works, set it and forget it. If there's too much to it, $359, that's kind of reasonable. I'd prefer to see it under 300, really. I think $299.99 is the sweet spot for this device.
Especially, the main thing I do not like about the Raspberry Pi setup is that you have to compile it from source. There is not yet a nice wizard, a nice downloader and compiler already handy in a just download and click on it version. That is a bit of a shame because it is quite technical that you have to get into. It's a good learning experience. You actually really know how the Bitcoin client works and what all you need. So that is really nice. I really enjoyed setting it up myself. But for the average user, the layman user, it would be nice to have a wizard, just a ISO file that you download and run.
Well, and it does sound like the Bitseed has gotten better. They say it's easy setup, just plug it into your router and turn it on. That's what I want to do. That sounds pretty good. Let's see if we can get us one of these Bitseeds. Let's see. Are you still working with Bit? And called again. Bitseed 3. Very creative.
That is the important stuff, right? Bitsy probably has a Twitter account, right? So you could.
Oh yeah.
So.
I tag them too. And my friend let's see. My friend John Light who used to work there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we need much more Bitcoin GIFs and Bitcoin memes. We have a couple, but not too many.
Yeah, I don't know what GIF to use with this. Is there a GIF for wanting free stuff? I'd like the free stuff GIF, please. All right, so there it is. Tweet sent to John Light and to Bitseed. If they respond or give me a discount or maybe a demo unit or something, I'd be glad to try out this Bitseed. I know a lot of people are like, blah, 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 mad Bitcoin should run a full node, but really, I have enough computers running as it is. Getting more is not what I'm looking for, but if this thing really is nice plug and play, I can put it next to the router. I can plug it in and forget it and never work on it. That's what I'm looking for.
And you know, the question that you always get is, why should I do it? Why would I support the network in such a way? The thing is, you're not supporting the network. With only a listening node like this one that is not a active miner, that is not mining new blocks, you do not really help the network. You might help in propagation time a little bit, but not really. That is not the reason why you do it. You actually run your own full node for your own reasons, because it gives you the control of which rules you want to run with your money, and you verify every transactions if they play by those rules. And if something happens where people try to break the rules, for example, the 2x fork, right, and the Bitcoin Cash fork, those were consensus issues. And you can only participate in such a debate with a Bitcoin full node. Plus, it gives you more privacy because you can send your own transactions over that node, which gives you, especially with propagation protocols such as Dandelion, much more privacy and anonymity in Bitcoin already.
I agree with that. And also, it supports the network. And if we can get this crazy box and you just plug it in next to your router and it works really good and it's kind of reasonable at 360. I'd rather see it at 300. I know it's just arbitrary, but that's where I am on the price. But yeah, we'll give it a try. Hopefully, it's easy to run. Hopefully, they're interested in us giving it a try. Bitseed's been around for a long time. They used to have one of these with a hard drive in it. It was a much bigger box, much harder to run. Jeremy is all about you can just run the Bitcoin QT client. But what I'm talking about here is getting people to run a full node for a reasonable amount of time. So if you run the QT client, you then have to sync your server for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. You have to keep your computer on all the time. Most of my computers are laptops. I turn them off or batteries die every 2 to 3 hours. So that would not be a useful full node. I'm not suggesting that you run this on your desktop computer. What I think we really need is a separate computer that's job it is to run this thing that I can set and forget. And that's what it seems like they're describing here. So I'm into that. Yeah, Jeremy's like, why would you ever turn off a computer? Because your hard drives will die in the heat. Every computer I have in California and even in Nevada, especially in Nevada, is in a constant war against the heat. Right now, I can hear my brand new desktop. It runs the fan all the time. In the ads, they're like, it occasionally runs the fan, except when Thomas is using your computer. Then it runs the fan all the time. So, because yeah, I'm always running too many programs. I'm always using too many hard drives. It's always hot in here. And yeah, my computers need rest. So
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And the Bitcoin Core client, it actually does need some CPU power, right, and some bandwidth. So if you have a separate computer, old laptop would also work fine. But of course, a small computer like a Raspberry Pi or the Bitseed, which I think is built on top of the Raspberry Pi, I'm not exactly sure. But this is just a really convenient way. And yeah, you can get Bitseed, which is amazing, for $360, or you could get a Raspberry Pi for $60 and do some coding yourself and get a bit dirty with how Bitcoin actually works. So again, it's up to the user of what you like. Eventually, we're going to get a Bitcoin full node on our phone, hopefully. That would be nice, if it's worth it.
It's funny. Someone in the chat is worried about my soundproofing foam. He says, "Does the sound dampening foam you use work as fire retardant? I'm not sleeping well since I see you put it everywhere." And I don't think we have to worry about a fire here. The owner of this building, I think, was worried in the past, and there's one of those fold up ladders in every single closet. Every single closet has a very exciting ladder that I could clip onto the window, and then I could climb down. So yeah, I think I'm fine. I don't think the foam stuff's going to stop fire though. It's not fireproof steel. Again, that doesn't stop fire either. We also have this article that Max brought up to us. It's from the Mises Institute. It's called "Don't Conflate Bitcoin and the Blockchain." And what did you think about this article, Max? Does it tell the people what they need to know about Bitcoin and blockchain, or is it a little off course? What do you think?
Well, of course, I was covering the Mises University, which is one of those primetime events for the Mises Institute here for the World Crypto Network. And I spoke a bunch to the professors there regarding Bitcoin. And in my opinion, they really did not yet grasp what it is all about. And this article, of course, it's not by the entire faculty, but just by John Scar. So I don't want to put words in any other person's mouth. But right here, it again really, really doesn't get what Bitcoin is all about. It says a bit later here that the distributed ledger does not have an individual owner, but there can certainly are owners of Bitcoin. What I'm trying to highlight is how the conflation is so embedded that it is like water to a fish. We don't even notice it. Bitcoin is not like computing or running water. It's a series of unique digital signatures that use blockchain computing to transform ownership over these unique digital signatures from one owner to another. And that is just, yeah, kind of what Bitcoin is, but not really, right? Yeah, of course, we have cryptography and we have signature schemes. Yes, that's how you defend your property rights. But the cool thing is that we have a system where we can run a full node, where we can run a Raspberry Pi, a Bitseed node, and actually set the rules to our money. And we verify if someone is breaking those rules. And if someone is breaking them, we kick him off the network. And we use cryptography, and we use game theory, and we use Austrian economic monetary theory, and open source philosophy. We use all those theories, all those tools to defend our property rights, to defend our ownership to our Bitcoin, to our digital scarce token that is unique and that only one person can have the ownership over, unless we have multi-signatures, right? But still there, the keys to the part of the signature scheme are held by the individual. So here again, the property rights are enforced in Bitcoin, not because of blockchain, only because of blockchain. Blockchain is not a good solution or the only solution here, but because of this holistic environment that Bitcoin puts itself in. And it really is not blockchain. It really is Bitcoin. That's the big deal.
Well, and what I think is funny about these Mises people, and I would put them on the other end of those drug warriors, right? The drug warrior people that could never quit. Well, that's an interesting. Oh, there it is. Now it works. They can't quit because of their past, right? I think in the same way, these Mises people can't quit because of their past. They've been waiting for the world's perfect money, and the fact that it came along and they completely missed it, I think hurts them in the brain, and they can't get past that, right? And there's a stumbling block where they're like, Bitcoin cannot be the world's perfect money because we didn't notice it. If we'd noticed it, it'd have been fine, right? Like the libertarians seem to notice it, and different categories, very closely related, but different kinds of people, they noticed it. I feel the Mises people didn't notice it, and now they're kind of old people that are like, well, oh, we didn't get it, so it must not be the one. Let's just keep going. Let's not reestablish things. Let's not look back, because really, I think they need to all be having epiphanies. They all need to be waking up and saying, gosh, that Bitcoin thing they talked about and that perfect money I've been talking about my whole life seem like they're the same things. Like maybe I'm totally wrong and I need to do that. But again, that's the hardest thing in the world. They don't want to do that. They don't want to admit they're totally wrong. Just like the drug warriors, these drug warriors made all their busts on marijuana. They put people in jail for marijuana and they tracked down drug dealers. And now it's recreational legal in like 8 states. It's medically legal in at least a dozen, maybe 20. Um, they have no idea how to deal with that mentally. They just can't do it. What do you think, Max? Do they have a block? Is that what's going on?
I really do think that that is what's going on because Bitcoin is on paper, just in theory and in practice, actually being out there, a perfect currency according to the Austrian model. It really is absolutely perfect. There's almost nothing that could be done any better, at least what I can think of in the constraints that we have around us. It's amazing. It really is a black swan event. And the thing is that Austrians, they are so focused on gold as the one and only currency. And I agree, gold is a really, really useful currency. It's an amazing currency in the 3D tangible space, our meat space right here. Gold is perfect for that. And right here, I got like silver coins. So yeah, I use gold and silver all the time. It's a good currency, but just not in the digital space. In the digital space, we need something that is intrinsically digital, but also intrinsically scarce, right? And so they still think that gold is everywhere the best currency, but it's not. It's not in the cyberspace. It's not in cyber utopia. There we need a new money.
And all that matters in the future is cyberspace. All that matters in the future is the cyber utopia. The kids don't care about banks. They're never going to go into a bank and start an account. And like Max showed the little piece of silver there, I bought $40 worth of silver 3 years ago. I think it's worth $20 now, and I don't even know where it is. It's on a shelf somewhere. It has the same value to me as one of these damn books. It's on a shelf somewhere. At least the book I can get some knowledge and some value out of. That silver is just in a stupid little bag. It makes little chinky noises when you shake it. That's its main feature. I can't do that with Bitcoin. I guess I could bang two treasures together, make a little sound. But no, it's nonsense. I don't. The sad part is, I think that the real sad part is here. We could take bets on whether or not the Mises people, whether or not the economist people, whether or not the libertarian people that aren't with us yet, whether or not they wake up. And sadly, I don't think they're going to wake up. I don't think they're going to get into us. I think they're going to stay on the sidelines and they're going to let it go by. And later on, when they're on their deathbeds, they'll all be like, that Bitcoin was pretty good money.
That is probably how it's going to work out for those guys. But again, it's individuals. Some people will get it, some people will not. There are already many, many new Austrians, new economists that are really interested in this topic, right? Of course, first and foremost, we have Saifedean Ammous, who is, of course, like one of the best, Austrians, and a professor of Austrian economics, right? That is in the space. He is amazing. With Giacomo Succo, cypherpunk and Austrian economist. Of course, Ansel Lindner, Blake Anderson, J.W. Weatherman. There are already many, many nice professors in the Austrian space that really know their shit, really know how this whole theory of economy and monetary theory works. And they are talking about it. They are writing the essays. They are writing books on the subject. So this is coming, and either the individuals will understand the new technology or they won't. But that doesn't stop us from who do understand the technology of going out there and using it and making it better.
And just an example for the folks at home, when I was trying to describe the noise that coins make, I was using an onomatopoeia. That's the formation of a word from a sound associated with what it's named, like oh, oh my, and all these different things. So here's onomatopoeia, like water sounds, like bloop, splash, spray, sprinkle, squirt. It's not easy to describe sounds, so I hope I didn't use the wrong word. I hope we'll all be okay. But Kyle Torpy also says, for as little as 0.01 Ethereum a day, you can sponsor an American blockchain project. Call now. Our volunteers are standing by. 9 out of 10 American blockchain projects will die before the end of the year. Have you done your part? Donate to an Ethereum ICO that's dying today. Think about the ICOs. Funny tweet from Kyle here.
Well, but right, oftentimes it is pretty much that. It is people asking for money for projects. And most of the time the projects are not going to be that good of project because most projects are pretty stupid, right? But there can be good projects that you can support, and it's on you to find out which projects you find valuable and which not. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. But Bitcoin are valuable. Don't think that much about Ether, but I guess you can use Ether to get more Bitcoin, which gives Ether already quite a good value.
And just think about the children. In exchange for your donations, you'll receive a Takeo sports watch. All day long, whenever it beeps, you can think about your contribution to all the little ICOs out there that are starving, that just don't have any money left. We expect future Bitcoin price declines. Goldman Sachs. Oh, kick us while we're down. Kick us while we're down. I liked it last week when you said Bitcoin will never recover, and then it promptly recovered. Also, Starbucks, Starbucks, Starbucks. What about Starbucks? Come on, Goldman Sachs. NYSE trader following backed. That's another Klingon word. Backed. Backed launch. Bitcoin is very iffy. Very precise language there.
That is really good journalism, and precise.
And the award for best headline in the Bitcoin industry goes to Cointelegraph. Bitcoin is very iffy. Hey, folks, your investment is iffy.
This new magical internet money, iffy.
Seems a little iffy. Bitcoin price in 2020, a very bullish and a very bearish forecast. You're just a really useful weatherman, aren't you, Panos Moradopoulos? I've seen your articles in the past. Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is dying. Bitcoin is on a comeback. You just have no idea what's going on, do you? You're like a windsock. You just blow around in the weather. One day you're going this way. The next day you're going that way. Who knows what you really mean? I think you're iffy. This guy looks iffy to me, Max.
It is really iffy. But also, don't underestimate the buzzword bingo. It is a nice game. Many people play it. The more buzzwords you can put into one headline, the better. And eventually, you're going to get the big buzzword prize, which is more clicks. So yeah, the buzzword bingo is strong, and it definitely is strong with this Panos Moradopoulos.
The chat's very excited about iffy. We found a great new Bitcoin word thanks to Cointelegraph. Everything seems iffy now. Bitcoin price analysis. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Oh, but you'd have to be so fast. We had the news yesterday. I guess you would have had to buy it and sell it in the same day. I don't know. It doesn't seem like very useful advice to me. Let's just keep going.
Well, I would more just say buy Bitcoin. Well, and that's it.
Buy Bitcoin unless it's a little iffy. Mt. Gox creditors are preparing to claim for Bitcoin repayments. Ooh. Once again, I remember years ago how tired we were of Mt. Gox. Because remember, the first they went down and they said, oh, we'll be back up in a day. We'll be back up in 3 days. There was even this side thing where a guy was betting and you could basically sell him your Mt. Gox coins for like 80% on the dollar. Like he would take them off you. And then he was trying to basically buy all the coins in Mt. Gox. And if they came back, he would do very well. And if they went away like they did, he would lose his damn shirt. And I'm pretty sure he lost his shirt. Although if he held, those coins are still valuable now. And it sounds like they're actually going to give them back to the people who deserve them. So I can't wait till it ends. I hope it's the end of Mt. Gox. I hope we never hear from them again. But I'm afraid that Karpellis will restart the exchange after successfully giving the money back, and that it'll be an exchange again, and we'll have to keep telling jokes. So.
Well, and right here, I mean, Mt. Gox is the perfect example of why the old system is bad and why we need a new system. Because right there, custodial holdings. The people did not own their own keys. So automatically, we are back at like a fractional reserve, central bank-ish kind of bank that is custodian over your money. And so what happens there is, of course, fraud. Because that is inherent in banking, and especially fractional reserve banking, right? And if we then further rely on a legal system, on the government legal system, we see that the entire court case takes what, like 4 years already? That is crazy. Like, that is crazy. That is not a speedy and a swift trial. It is a devastatingly long court case that is so boring and so wasteful. On the contrary, you have Bitcoin. You hold your keys. Nobody is going to steal anything from you. You run your own nodes. You verify if someone is trying to change the rules. And you make sure that nobody is inflating the money or doing a fractional reserve scheme on you. And if you have your keys done securely, no chance. Like, no chance that anybody is gonna steal your coins. It's mathematics. That's how the new system works. Every 10 minutes you validate if everything is all right. If it is, perfect. Let's keep going.
And what a ride for these poor people in Mount Gox. I remember years ago hearing stories about a waitress who put, a couple grand in, and she had a couple hundred grand in Mount Gox at the time. She could have changed her life, bought a house, paid down her debt, et cetera, et cetera. But she didn't know how to sell it. She didn't even really understand that Mount Gox was holding her Bitcoin and that Mount Gox was a thing that could go away just like that. But then they had that whole thing, they were going to get dollars back. Now they might get Bitcoin back. Still, they haven't gotten anything back at all. It's very unlikely that these Mt. Gox people were able to access the loan market to bring in some money to tide them over, because certainly they do own something. They own some kind of an asset and some kind of a website, and someday they're going to get paid something. So very tough ride for these people. I hope they get their money, and I hope it's over, and I hope no one ever leaves their money on an exchange again. But
Exactly. Right? And this stuff will continue happening, and people will be continuously defrauded and being stolen from. That's just how humans are, right? We see a shiny, pretty new thing, and we want to have it, and people steal. Yeah, that's immoral, that's wrong. So you have to defend yourself. And you are going to defend yourself against theft with a defensive weapon, a defensive tool. That is cryptography, that is Bitcoin. If you use Bitcoin correctly, no chance your Bitcoin are safe. So use a hardware wallet, back up your seeds, and you're good for 99% of all attack vectors. And take a couple extra steps, maybe do a multi-signature wallet, and you're good for pretty much whatever is going to come ahead. So really take your physical security and your digital security serious.
I also want to talk maybe about altering our strategy with these exchanges. I know we've talked about black and white, and we've been like, don't leave your money on the exchange. And that's such a 100%er position. That's like that hodl thing we were all into, where it was like, hodl no matter what. And it was like, no, no, hodl. But if you go up crazy, maybe you should pay off your debts. If you go up crazy, maybe you should take some profits. Like, we need to have more of a variation to things. So, what I would say is, I know everyone wants to gamble on the crazy altcoins, and you have some of your money, which is clearly gambling money. But let's have some of your money, let's call it profits. So your crazy altcoin goes up 10%. You don't want to get a wallet for it. There might not even be a wallet for it, right? So you don't really have a great option to, store your own coins, right? It's not, and again, who knows if your laptop's safer than the exchange, so forth and so forth. But let's say your profit. You get a little profit off these altcoins, you sell it, maybe you sell it into Bitcoin and you transfer it into your Trezor. Now you know that you have your profit. So every time you make a little profit, you put it in the Trezor. Now it's off the exchange. When you lose money, you lose your principal, you lose your investment, but you keep your profit. Maybe this cushions you from the potential loss. I just think we need to have more options. We need to be more 80-20, 50-50, 70-30. We need to mix things up. I think a lot of times we're like 100% my money's on that exchange, 100% I'm safe in cold storage. We need to do more percentage-based mixtures. We need to be more flexible. Right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And maybe further to elaborate on this, don't sell it. Use it. Right? If we are
Well,
at
and that's the thing, the using thing. People seem to not remember that you can rebuy your Bitcoin. I get this story all the time. No, no one would use their money for coffee. Oh. Well, if you buy $10 worth of coffee and you go on your phone with Cash App or Coinbase or whatever you use, and you buy $10 in Bitcoin, you didn't lose anything, and you got to use this incredible new digital currency. So let's not all be misers with the like, we could never spend it, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can use it and you can buy it back. Let's be
Exactly.
adults here.
And especially when we have a crazy price like 20,000, and we all know that this is, exuberant and that it will not last for a long time, then, don't sell it for fiat, but buy a nice car, or, buy a nice house, or buy just a small little vacation. But use the currency as it is meant to be used for when the purchasing power is high, so that you can get nice stuff, but don't really have to buy anything, or don't have to pay that much for it. I booked a couple vacations back in December, a couple flights. That's super cheap for me compared to today. I got like the tickets for 60% off. That's amazing, right? So I didn't spend anything, I didn't sell anything in fiat. I spent Bitcoin. I used it as a currency. And that will automatically, right, lower your loss, quote unquote. It will actually realize some gains, but not in fiat terms, but in physical value. I now had, the flight to America, and I had some other stuff that I bought. I now still have that. And I got that at a really, really high Bitcoin price.
It's also a good idea to pay off your debts. It's not fun. During the height, I was transferring Bitcoin to this account, transferring it to the debt account, and paying for things that I'd already bought. Right. So I never got a big Amazon box. I never got a car or anything like that. But I got rid of my debt, at least most of it at the time, et cetera, et cetera. But still, feels good. Pay that debt back. You borrowed it. Maybe you think they're con artists and scammers because they're charging you ridiculous interest. You got to deal with that. But the only way to get out from that ridiculous interest is to pay them. The other thing to pay down your mortgage, pay down things like that. Essentially, you're going to have to buy that house 3 or 4 times if you wait 30 years to pay off your mortgage. If you can use your Bitcoin or your crazy altcoin winnings to pay that thing down faster, maybe you only have to buy 2 houses instead of 4 or 5. That's going to save you a fortune. And again, you need a place to live, you need food, you need health insurance, you need a gym. You need your basic things. Get those taken care of. People in the chat like, no, but I spent my money on the gym. Now I have less Bitcoin. But your health is the only real thing that matters. Traveling makes you feel good, gives you ideas, helps you meet people. So yeah, I would say spending money on experiences. Again, we're representing the millennial and the lower generations here. They like experiences. They don't like stuff. So they're less likely to buy fancy silverware made of silver, and they're more likely to buy a trip to Florida to see an alligator or something. So
yeah, I absolutely agree. But what Bitcoin does to you is it increases your time preference. It lowers your time preference. So it gives you a longer time horizon that you plan for. You do not consume everything now. You actually value your Bitcoin because I can consume more in the future. And so, yes, Bitcoin really helps you to spend less, to be less wasteful, to go out there and do not just consume nonstop all the time. That is not really that prosperous. That is not that healthy. But what Bitcoin does to you is it helps you be prudent. It helps you to save for future and for the future generations, right? So absolutely be careful on what you spend your Bitcoin on. Don't go out there and buy useless plastic stuff. Buy high quality products that will actually last you, because that way you don't have to spend more Bitcoin in the future. But ultimately, you have to spend your Bitcoin and you have to consume something, right? Because you have to get food, you have to get shelter, you have to have at least a minimum of sustainability for yourself. And if you can, try to get that in Bitcoin. I'm moving to Stuttgart tomorrow. I buy my apartment, I pay for it in Bitcoin. Didn't buy the apartment, I rented it, but I pay my landlord in Bitcoin. Why not? I just asked him, showed him how it works. He said, yeah, I like it. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to pay you the rent for the month in Bitcoin. And that's it. As easy as that, and you can live in a complete different city within a couple of weeks' notices and pay in Bitcoin. That's amazing. No registration needed.
And people are down in the chat. They're like, what about that guy who paid $70 million for a pizza? And I'm like, well, I bet the pizza was really good. But he enjoyed the pizza. You have to think of it in the moment. That guy only paid essentially nothing because Bitcoin had no value. So he paid whatever it took him to run his computers for the last week to get those, 10,000 Bitcoin, whatever it was, to buy those 2 pizzas. So yes, we must imagine the Bitcoin pizza eater happy, just like Sisyphus. Pushing the rock up the hill is its own reward. That's what we got to figure. But I was just going to show you guys yesterday a little recap of what I was up to last night, why I was a little late this morning walking the dog. We had another edition of our Bitcoin Meetups event, which is a bi-weekly event right now. Join me and spread the word about Bitcoin on Fremont Street. And we went down to the old Las Vegas Strip on Fremont Street. Here's the Bitcoin ATM at the D. Check that out. Very cool. And remember, the D takes Bitcoin at their gift shop, at their steak house, at the hot dog stand, at the hotel. They take Bitcoin everywhere. You can schedule your room in Bitcoin. We're going to try to rent a room there, try to have a conference for Bitcoin there. All this is happening at the D Hotel in Las Vegas. So big fans of the D down there. And here's Mad Bitcoins doing that Bitcoin thing, handing out some flyers, walking around in front of the crazy lights, showing it off down there in downtown Vegas. And there I am at the end of the strip at the Plaza Hotel, which also has a Bitcoin ATM. I think I'm standing in front of the cow. That's why I'm getting less retweets this time. But usually this is a 80, 90 retweeter because people just love that Bitcoin cow. You can see him in the background there. The cow loves Bitcoin. So great job. I think it's Coin Center, something like that with the ATMs. And then just in the corner back there, you can see the cow Bitcoin ATM in its natural environment next to a Wheel of Fortune machine. So that's what I did yesterday. And then this morning, I'm here talking to you, but what I'm supposed to be doing, let's see, application window. Oh, it's off the screen. I'm supposed to be editing video. So here it is right now. All the footage that we shot, Fremont Street. There's Mad Bitcoins. There's a Bitcoin ATM. Oh, I have a new game. I like to put flyers on Bitcoin ATMs and other ATMs. If you put a flyer in the spot where the money comes out, you know how some of them shoot the money into a pile. Maybe the person will have to grab your Bitcoin flyer to get their money. There's the Bitcoin sign right there on the D. I'll play it a little bit. You can see it move. Pretty cool. They run that sign all the time, every 5 minutes or so. Bitcoin right there in Las Vegas at the D and the Golden Gate Casino. Very
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, what I also like to do, and you spoke about just handing out the flyers on the ATMs itself. I did a interview that will be streamed on the website and on YouTube a couple weeks from now in Germany and in German language. And we set up a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, and put like 0001 Bitcoin on there, a couple bucks, $10 or so. And we showed the 12 English words or 24 English words as the Bitcoin master seed. And so what we did was this kind of like little, winning game, the lottery basically. To whoever watches the video first, he can use this private seed to then spend the Bitcoin. So also another nice way to show, number one, how cool a digital currency can be, that you can hand the private key over the internet, which is nice, but also how easy it is to lose your money, right? So it also teaches you the lesson of how important it is to keep your key secret. So I like that approach as well. But Thomas, great things that you do at the strip to keep spreading the word of Bitcoin. And how do you? What was the feedback so far that you got? What are the people saying about Bitcoin? Are they interested?
Well, it's still tough to get the tourist interested. Most of them, a couple of them, we're gonna have to show you the look on their face, and they're just like, "I am so confused. The Mad Hatter just gave me a flyer and told me about internet money. This is so confusing to me." Other ones seem interested, like they're gonna go home and try it. But the main success I've had, at least in Las Vegas, down there on the old strip, is with the buskers. The people that are out there essentially working for tips and for donations. There's different categories of them. A lot of them are taking these long stalks from palm trees or something and stitching them into flowers, far more than you would believe. I don't know where they're getting these palm tree things from, but they sit there and they craft them and then they try to sell them. And I guess they must sell a couple. There's also the nearly naked girls. They would like to take a picture of you to remind your friends about how much fun you're having in Las Vegas, and they'd love $5 or $10 if you've got it. Then there's the action heroes, all the Marvel characters, Captain America, Spider-Man, Deadpool. They'd love to take a picture with you. Then there's some kind of freak acts, like a very fat naked guy wearing a G-string. This week he was playing guitar, so he's upped his act. There's the guy with the FU sign. A lot of locals give him money because he's just like FU. He doesn't have any message. There's a guy you can kick in the balls. I don't know. There's a lot of buskers, but the buskers were very interested when I told them about Bitcoin. They really did take the time to talk to me, and we're going to be highlighting some of those interviews with the buskers. Well, sadly, they're not really interviews because I didn't have a clip-on mic. What I really think I need now, besides a ton of professional gear and equipment or whatever, is one of those wireless microphone packs, maybe that would pick up me and the people I'm talking to. Because it seems a little unnatural to have the stick microphone with the cord. I don't find that easy to talk to people with unless they've already agreed to do an interview with me. But when I'm just walking up to people and getting them to talk to me, then I surprise, I've got a flyer. I'm selling something too. I turn the tables on them. But yeah, it would be great if I had the conversations from there. I really don't. It's going to be, music or something. The audio wasn't really there.
Well, yeah, getting on the street and getting good audio is really tricky. So there are options. We might get something, but you know what? What we really could use is support from the community, right? So if you want to donate to the World Crypto Network so that we can get all that fancy stuff, there's the Bitcoin address in the description below, right? There's the Patreon. So you all guys know where to find that. So if you want to get videos from the street with high quality audio, then support us there. And the interesting thing also is that the more high quality stuff we can put out there, it really depends on you, because we do need all the hardware. We do need all the flights and payments for all that kind of stuff. And the more money we have, the more we can do. Basically, that simple.
I'm trying to do a screen share in 2 different windows right now. It is not working. Google's obviously never tried this. I find it so easy to break software. I just have to think of something that I want to do and then try to do it, and boom, I broke it again. Good job, me.
Hey, fantastic.
But
Would be nice if they can fix it.
We are trying to get the big map up. Everyone at home should be ready to call in. I need to unmute the call-in guy so I can hear it ring. And now the magic words are Skype, World Crypto Network, all one word, like that. And you guys can call us in now. You can call us live on the World Crypto Network. I should try to get the graphic up on the other screen. We're still working with a lot of screens and a lot of computers here. I think we could use a few more.
A few more computers will always solve the problem.
Yeah.
Or create a bunch more, probably both.
If only I had all my files on different computers and they were really hard to access. That's what I wish.
Oh wait, that's reality right now.
I've got it. I'm ahead. But yeah, I'm trying to get the Bitcoin Talk Show logo up on the screen here, but it's on a local computer, not on the other computer. So we'll see if Dropbox is up. No, Dropbox is not running.
Yeah. It's me, Boss Lady has a nice comment in the chat. She's saying that make Bitcoin stickers. Ask people if they have any Bitcoin. If they say no, then slap a sticker on them and say now you do. And do that she got that from the OG Bitcoiner Morpheus, for free Morpheus and free Ross. Really true. Yeah, that's a nice thing. Have something ready to prepare. Thomas and I. Oh, there's a caller.
Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Well, it's Henry again, calling back from Montana.
All right, Montana. We have to bring that on the map now. We'll see where Montana really is. Ooh. So how's it going in Montana today, Henry? Any luck convincing more people to get into Bitcoin?
I actually did. I got one of my friends to open up, gonna hate me again, a Coinbase account, and they gave him $20 in it. And he knew of Bitcoin when I was asking him about it, but he didn't really know much beyond that. We had a short conversation, but I just said you should open an account or get a wallet, and I can get you I'll just give you $20 and watch it. Like, just watch it once a week. You don't even have to do, because he's not someone who watches Bitcoin or the internet much, but I told him, like, watch it once a week and just, see, this is your $20 and see what it does.
That's awesome. So I don't know, the morning news, he's down to $18. He's
Yeah. I was just looking at that right now and kind of laughed.
I know, it's always timing. If only we could have gotten him in last week. If only we could have changed it around, But yeah, that's great. You got a friend to try Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
What I would also like to say here is that, yeah, there is a lot of fluctuation with the fiat value, right? With the dollar and euro value. So what is really interesting here is that you can simply say, hey, the fiat value doesn't really matter. It's the Bitcoin that matters. And you have 0.002 Bitcoin or whatever it is. And nobody's going to take that away from you. That is the cool thing with Bitcoin, right? That he himself, like the user, owns it. That will never fluctuate in value. It'll be 0.02 Bitcoin until the end of time.
Yep, and that's what I tell pretty much everyone that has at least the courage to want to listen to me, is that it's yours. And that's the greatest part about it. And me and my grandpa butted heads when I kind of brought it up in a conversation the other day, because he likes to invest in a lot of stocks, normal stocks. And I just told him, the greatest part about Bitcoin is that no one can take it from you. And, even in certain situations in certain stocks, yes, the government can take them from you if you've done something wrong, so that they can be taken from you. But that's what I love about Bitcoin, is that it doesn't care who you are and what you are. You can own it.
It kind of reminds me of what we were talking about this morning with the Mises people. You and I both believe that your grandfather, because he's into stocks and bonds and all these things, it would be a natural thing to just slide over to Bitcoin. But much like these Mises people, they just can't see Bitcoin as the real money. Something about the internet, something about computers, there's a block in there. And even though you'd think he'd be the easiest to convince, he actually might be the hardest, right?
Mainly because, and I've not just him, I've talked to one other person who deals with a lot of stock trading, and they can't figure out how it's backed. Even when I try to explain to them how, like, the value of gold is backed and stuff like that, and how it's just intrinsic, really, the intrinsic value of it, they still can't figure out the same relation between the two, and how Bitcoin is just intrinsically valued pretty much. And
I think a nice way to explain that is to tell them that, yeah, for example, if you have gold, then gold is intrinsically valuable, right? You have a gold coin, and that is nice to have because it's a good money. However, you can also try to peg this value of a gold coin onto a piece of paper, right? Do it with a paper receipt. But that kind of works, but it always introduces fractional reserve banking and all the problems with central banks, right? And so you can say that, yeah, that we could theoretically do the same thing, have gold in the vault and have a digital token representing the gold in the vault, but that would still mean that someone can come in, kick down the door, and take away the gold. So if you want to have something useful that is like gold in the internet, it mustn't be pegged to another good, because pegging one good to another never really works. What you have to do is create something that is intrinsically scarce, and that then does not have to be pegged against anything, because it is like gold, because it is scarce itself.
Mm-hmm. And that, I tried to explain to him, as much as I could, the way how it's pretty much gold in a sense, as far as its valuing goes. But, it's just still hard to make someone say there's nothing. At least with gold, you're physically holding something. The other big problem that I see is he always views it as like one Bitcoin. And I keep having to explain to him, you don't have to buy only one Bitcoin. You can buy fractions, any fractions of a Bitcoin that you want. And you can send really any fraction of a Bitcoin that you want. And that's another thing that, is a little hard to kind of get people to accept, is that you don't have to have this set hold number.
What we might want to try is just go back to the demonstration again. Try to get him to take $5 or $10 worth of Bitcoin. He doesn't have to pay for it. I mean, you could just eat the $5 or whatever, and tell him. And this isn't exactly true, but it's kind of true. Tell him that Bitcoin is valuable because it's useful. Send him the $5 with the QR code. Say how, okay, we're in the same room. I can scan your QR code, but there's this YouTube guy, and he puts up the QR code, and anyone can scan it from anywhere. What about that? And then the same thing, pretend you were talking to your friend over chat or on the phone or something, and you sent them the QR code, and you need like an extra $20 to pay your rent this month. It's like a big deal. They could send you the $20 and you could cash it out. And maybe just try to get their mind thinking about the usefulness, and think about your current money, the dollar. Like, it doesn't fit into your phone at all. There's no slot. It doesn't go in. It's not working. And think about like a stock or anything else that you would try to use instead of the dollar to send around. And then think about this Bitcoin. And then if you really want to blow his mind, you could say, there is no middleman. Bitcoin can do this without a corporation, without someone directly to trust.
Yeah.
And just
I
the
get what you're saying
demonstration.
with that completely.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it'll work?
Possibly. The hardest part too is that everyone around here still uses checks. Like, we're really behind the rest of the world. Like, even I still use checks for like purchases. You'll whip out your checkbook and like believe it or not, that is a common thing around here.
Oh man, yeah. I haven't seen a check in a long time. I know. Max was saying last time he doesn't even have a checkbook, and he works for a bank. So, yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. Checks are pretty rare out here.
I did convince him though. I said, the next time that we both have an hour or two to burn, I said, I'll help you get a Bittrex account set up, and I'll just give you, X amount of Bitcoin to just go play around with. And, I just told him next time we have the time to do that. And he agreed. He said that he'd sit down and we could make that account for him and, get all that set up. And I kind of hope that'll be a good first step for him.
Yeah, that sounds really good, and I would definitely suggest that to anyone out there. A couple of my friends, when I decided I was going to start trying to trade these crazy altcoins, I told them, and they're like, "Yeah, I'd like to put $10 in each one of those altcoins and see how they go, and put a total of $100 in. It's no big deal if I lose it or if I win." And it can be very hard for them to set up a Bittrex account, set up a Coinbase account, do all the security, link all those accounts together, so forth. If you just wanted to set them up an account and give them, $100 or a reasonable amount, they could even give you $100 bill or something in the real world, no problem, and just let them gamble on those crazy altcoins, especially for your grandfather. He knows about stocks. He knows about them going up and down and all the crazy things that stocks do. So, yeah, let them gamble on some of these crazy altcoins. Maybe that will get him into it. Let us know how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
I will.
is both, the gambling for the altcoins and just the gambling with Bitcoin and just experiencing how Bitcoin works. Because yeah, it's one thing to trade something, but you could be trading pork, you could be trading barrels of wheat. Doesn't really matter. You can trade anything, and it's pretty much the same experience. But nevertheless, right, it's nice to see that you can do that now in the digital space as well. But I'm still a big fan of just showing how Bitcoin works and just sending him a few cents, a few Satoshis in Bitcoin. But it's everything, right? Do whatever is interesting to the other person. And if your grandfather is interested in buying and selling stocks, show him that there are a bunch of altcoins in this market, raised with a lot of volatility, which is nice for trading, right? There's always something that the other person will find interesting.
And the other thing too that I found, and this was with both people I talked to on that, is they're for some reason afraid of volatility. Like they're like, in their minds, they think over 1 year, if the volatility changes 3%, that's amazing. You invest into that hardcore. And to them, the idea that it can change 3% in an hour is just like crazy. You do not ever like that. That's the equivalent of going into hell, kind of. And it's weird to kind of convince them that that kind of volatility is okay. You just got to look at it on a way bigger picture than the 1 hour or the 3% volatility. Like you got to just look at it from the way bigger perspective than what a normal stock volatility that you're used to.
Oh, and there's crazy volatility out there. One of the ones I was looking at, I think it's called OX. It went down 39% last night. I have no idea what happened, but yeah, we took a header there. And the same thing, that crazy thing will go up 20%. I mean, these altcoins are just crazy. People in the chat are having a fight. They're saying, one person says it's better than casino gambling. The other one says you'll never get him into Bitcoin if you get him into losing money in shit coins. But I'm not so sure about that. I think the fact that the shit coins have value, the fact that the Bitcoin has value, the fact that there's this giant market trading them, and that you could demonstrate that to them, even if they lost the $100. Even if he goes out there and he's like, yeah, I bought this crazy thing and that crazy thing and they went down and so forth. And he comes out with like $20 and he's like, well, I'm just going to put the rest of the $20 in Bitcoin and see how it goes. There it is. They've learned their lesson. They went through the machine. They came out the other side. I think it would make them think they're all real. I don't know if you'd go to that exchange and think.
And the cool thing is that people always say that volatility is the big flaw in Bitcoin, right? But I would say, on the contrary, it's its biggest strength. And there's this great book by Nassim Taleb called Anti-Fragility and Anti-Fragile. And I'm going to just read one paragraph out of here. Some things benefit from shocks. They thrive and grow when exposed to volatility, randomness, disorder, and stressors. And they love adventure, risk, and uncertainty. Yet in spite of the ubiquity of the phenomenon, there is no word for the exact opposite of fragile. Let us call it anti-fragile. So just as if you have a glass, if you add volatility, if you shake it and if you break it if you throw it on the ground, it will break. It will no longer be as useful because you have broken it. Something that is fragile is on the complete opposite. If you shake it, it becomes more strong and it becomes more resilient and resistant. And Bitcoin is just that. Bitcoin is anti-fragile. So the more volatility, the better. Because with more stimulus, with more vibration, the system will be even stronger and stronger and stronger. Andreas Antonopoulos has a great talk with the Bitcoin sewer rat and the bubble boy.
It's the best way I could say that in real life is a non-Newtonic fluid or non-Newtonian fluid. The more energy you add to it, the more it becomes a solid. It's like corn starch and water. Have you ever mixed that together and it makes a weird kind of liquidy stuff that breaks and stuff like that? It's called a non-Newtonian fluid, and the more energy you add into it, the more solid it gets.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is.
But before I forget, I told my grandpa though not to invest into these altcoins, the other ones in Bitcoin, until you really kind of know of it, because I tried to explain to him how altcoins are not the same as Bitcoin and how they have a different agenda, and you want to do a little bit of research into what is happening with that altcoin, kind of like what you do with the stock. And that's honestly where I got him to connect the most on it, is where you can actually look into what is this coin doing and how does it relate to the real world and what events are going to change its value, just like normal stocks will do when companies have mergers and stuff like that, or do deals that will bring their stocks up and down. You can do the same thing with Bitcoin. And when I explained that to him, that really kind of reassured him on the legitimacy in his mind of it.
I think this sounds like a really good project. I'm curious to see what happens with your grandfather. Make sure to schedule that appointment where you can set him up with a Bittrex soon. I want to see how this all plays out. But I think you're very much on the right path there, Henry. I think work him through it slowly, give him the information slowly, let him think about it, let him make up his own mind. I think that's the best way to go. And I definitely agree with your example of the non-Newtonian fluid. That's a great example, Henry.
Thank you. Well, I'm about to eat breakfast here, and I'll let someone else get on the line. It was pretty nice talking to you guys today.
Right on, man. Thanks so much for the call. Give us a call anytime.
Yeah, see you, Henry.
Well, I will.
Thank you very much.
See you, man.
All right. Bye-bye, Henry. Great stuff from Montana. The only Bitcoiner in Montana, our pal Henry. Maybe soon there'll be 2 Bitcoiners in Montana with his grandfather joining up. It sounds really cool. It's a good project. And remember, you can teach your grandfather or your parents or your neighbors or anybody, teach them about Bitcoin. Spread this knowledge. Get them started on the accounts. Make it as easy as you can for them, even if you have to cut out a couple of steps here and there. And when they're ready to buy their own $100, they'll link their bank account. They'll figure it out. But we've just got to get them into that ready position.
Exactly, right? And they could, make the easy way, get a Cash App, the Square Cash App, and, maybe link it to their credit card if they still use it, which they shouldn't, or just link it to the account. There are easy ways that you can do it. If they are interested and if they want to go just a little extra further, show them the good stuff. Show them a hardware wallet where they can securely store their own keys, right? Show them something like Bisq or HODL HODL, a decentralized exchange where they don't have to register. That makes it much, much easier. Plus, you tell them the beauty of how the system can work peer-to-peer, which I think is really important for especially the elderly people, because they still grew up without the internet, or we still had face-to-face discussions. And so it's really nice that you can just hammer home this point, that it is peer-to-peer without a middleman. You're not paying a company to pay a company to pay a company to pay a company. You're paying me. And that's it. And there's nobody else involved. And that is, I think, something that everyone can get behind.
And this is the first time in your life you have a chance to invest in something like this, where you're truly early. And I thought I was late in the past, and I thought I was late again. And then I finally got in at around $300 or $100 after watching it at $1, watching it at 30, watching it at 100, so forth and so forth. You're probably watching it now and you're saying, oh, 1,000 was too much. Oh, 5,000 was too much. Oh, 8,000 was too much. That's going to keep happening. You be ready for that. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, this is Declan from Vancouver again.
All right. How's it going, Declan?
Hey, what's up, Declan?
Hello?
Hello. What's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
Oh, I was actually watching the Tone Vays Boston meetup for Bitcoin yesterday. I watched it last night. There was some really interesting conversations on there about why the price goes down and up, why Ethereum isn't relevant. Like, it was just a good conversation about that. And then they were talking about how the more transactions and the more kind of adoption that Bitcoin has post kind of a big rally, it actually helps the price. It doesn't really push the price up. It actually makes the price go down a bit more, just because there's more Bitcoin being moved around and sold and bought from people. So I was just thinking about that. That's pretty interesting thought pattern.
Sure. Yeah. If there's more buyers and less sellers, the price of Bitcoin will go up.
Well, yeah, right. But again, we have to differentiate here between the transaction volume that is on chain, that is, I send 1 Bitcoin to your account and you have it, and decouple that from the volume on, for example, a exchange. Because on an exchange, you can do a bunch of transactions and don't have them settled on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So yes, we have the volume entering and exiting Bitcoin from the fiat side. So how many people are trading their dollars and euros for Bitcoin? But then I think more importantly, we have how much value, how many Bitcoin are being transacted on the network, on the base layer. And that is something that is, of course, how many transactions are in the block sizes and the blocks every 10 minutes. So both metrics really interesting and how they affect the money or the price of the money. So what do you think? How much is the volume on chain impacting the price?
I really don't think the volume on chain is impacting the price as much as the exchanges or the futures exchanges. I really think those are the main things that are pushing the price up and down comparatively to what's on chain, in my opinion.
Could be. It's tough to tell. A lot of the price movement, even today, people were all saying, "Oh, the news doesn't help. The news doesn't help. It fell to 7,000 anyway." And partially, I think that's true, but I think that the sentiment does matter. And if we can get the mainstream media and everyone talking good about Bitcoin again with some good news stories and some positive developments, I think it will change the overall trading picture. But still, if the charts say we have to go down and a bunch of people follow each other like lemmings, then we have to go down. So it doesn't much matter if everyone's reading the same playbook and they're like, oh, 7,000 in my playbook means sell. And there's, 100,000 other people that are just following that. But the thing about Bitcoin, it's such a small market that every once in a while, a whale is going to come along and disagree with you. 7,000 in his playbook was buy, and he's going to buy up all your cells and sell them at 9,000 or something. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I can understand that. I think a lot of the news that's coming out now is definitely going to affect the price in the long term because, I mean, this is just the news that's coming out. It's not actual implementation of all these things, right?
Sure, buy the rumor, sell the news. But this was pretty official, but it hasn't come out yet. Like I said yesterday, I predicted that Starbucks would just put you into your loyalty card and have you use your loyalty card to make purchases. On CNBC, Brian Kelly confirmed that Starbucks would be accepting Bitcoin to their app, then using their app to convert the Bitcoin into basically Starbucks gift cards. And then you would just have a bunch of gift card money, and the existing register system for the gift cards already works good. So it's not like they're going to take Bitcoin directly, but they are going to take Bitcoin directly on their app. A lot of people have already been speculating. They've been like, Starbucks wants the Bitcoin. Starbucks wants the Bitcoin. Sorry to burst your bubbles, but Starbucks will be getting the money. This big company, the NYSE, with their backed Klingon exchange, will be taking the money. They are the Coinbase custodian or the BitPay in this picture, and their goal is to get a bunch of Bitcoin, pay market price for it, and put it in a big pile. I think later on they'll try to become a Bitcoin bank or a Bitcoin stock market or something like this. Go ahead, Max. Did you have more on that?
Right. Yeah, right. No, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. It's a custodian account. They are not using Bitcoin. They're using some SQL database, but it's not Bitcoin. It's not on the base blockchain, right? It's not on Lightning Network with the potential of being on the base blockchain. So yeah, they can use it. Let's try to make it secure. We've seen that custodial accounts are anything but secure, and most of the time they get hacked almost instantly. So let's see how this goes. Anything that's good and anything that's peaceful, that's amazing. So I like the adoption, but why do you want to add the custodial layer? Just use Bitcoin. That gets rid of all the custodial layers that are super expensive.
Yeah, I think in this case, Starbucks has to pay their suppliers.
I work, so I'm gonna have to leave. Thanks for having me on, and I'll see you guys next Saturday or Sunday when you have another live stream.
Thanks so much for the call, Declan. One quick question: are you in Vancouver, Canada, or Washington?
Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, I picked correctly. The chat was wrong. Thanks so much for the call. Give us a call anytime.
All right, thanks. See you.
See you, Declan. Thank you very much for calling.
Yep. And you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. Looked like we did have a call while we were talking to Declan. So if you want to go ahead and call back right now, the phone lines are open. But what do you think, Max? Do you think that these traders are causing the price to go up and down, or is it the news, or is it just the Bitcoin, or Is it the meridian lines on the Earth and the different combinations of random factors? Butterfly flaps its wings in Africa. Bitcoin price goes down to 7,000.
Well, all of them, right? We don't know because everything is factored into this price. It's the individual subjective valuations of thousands and thousands and millions of people. I have no idea what other people think. I have no idea if someone is going to buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin in the next second. I don't know. That's why I personally am not a big trader, because I just don't know. I don't know what other people are thinking. What I do know is that, if it's peaceful, if it's voluntary, then both of them are winning. So it doesn't matter where the price is. If all the buying and selling is being done voluntarily, both parties are better off. The one party wanted to have the Bitcoin, they got that. The other party wanted to have the fiat, they got that. I do not know why other people would like to have fiat, but I will gladly take their Bitcoin if they would like to exchange. So that's the cool thing of trading. It's voluntary, and you really don't know what's going on. But that's where the gambling part comes in, right?
It's funny, Max Kaiser in the chat. I don't know if he's the real Max Kaiser, but he says all of the above, especially magnetic ley lines. He
Yes.
gets it. We're talking about those meridians, about the pyramids, and so forth. Pretty funny stuff. So, but we are spinning the globe right here. This means that anyone could call in right now on Bitcoin Talk Show. Anyone in the world. Since we've started mapping things just yesterday, we've had a lot of calls in the United States. We haven't had any international calls yet. We have this round globe here. We don't know if it works for international calls yet. We're going to give it a try. Look at all the countries that haven't called us yet since we started tracking.
What are we going to do if someone is going to call us from a boat? Then the pin is just in the water, right?
Oh, they'll have to give us the longitude and latitude of their boat, of course. We'll be like,
yeah, of course.
You're just off the shore of Puget Sound, or 30 miles off the coast of Africa, off the coast of Cape Horn in the Great Southlands. I don't know. Madagascar. Here we go. Everyone's excited. They're like, where's it going to be from? Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jeff, calling from Fort Lauderdale.
All right. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, coming up on the big map.
What's
what's
up,
on your
Jeff?
mind today about
Sun down
Bitcoin,
here.
Jeff? Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, just to listen. I've been a big fan of the World Crypto Network for last year. Been involved in Bitcoin, and if it wasn't for the World Crypto Network and all the Vortex and all the great guests, I'd probably still be having a lot of bags of altcoins. Where I got in, and Bitcoin was kind of the second thing, Civic, and so I'm just grateful for the World Crypto Network and all the. I guess the one thing I just want to mention, what it's done for me, is the education. That if Bitcoin goes to zero, all the stuff that I've learned. For me, being older, I didn't know much about computer science, had no idea about Austrian economics. And so for me, it's just this last year has just been a great awakening for me in so many different parts. And so, people get lost in the price of 10,000. I look at it right now as a discount for all this stuff that's going on. And if you want to sell me your Bitcoin below 7,000, I'm going to save as much money to buy it. And I know there's going to be a bull run. So, just want to hear your guys' perspective of, maybe your process of how it's changed your life, the things that, you've learned.
Well, I think that's a great sentiment, Jeff, and thanks so much for the compliment. We appreciate you watching the World Crypto Network, and we're glad we're able to help your education. It's a really hard thing to do, to tell somebody something they don't know and tell them they should go look it up in a book or read another article about it or just expand what they already don't know. Most people are against that. So I congratulate you on having the open mind to be able to learn and to be able to go out and to even to admit that there's something that we don't know. A lot of people are just like, I know everything, right? Sorry, I talked over you. Yeah, it's great, Jeff. And what has changed my life about Bitcoin? Well, I mean, I like doing this show. I think that's pretty fun for me. I always thought it would be fun to do a radio show or to have a TV station. And years ago, I just liked Bitcoin and I thought it was great. and I looked around me and I saw no one else was talking about it. And I was like, why are these people not talking about Bitcoin? It's great. And I just started talking about it all the time, and I started learning new things. And I agree with you. It's great to learn new things about Bitcoin, and that's the best part. Because yeah, even if Bitcoin went down, tomorrow or whatever, we'd still know all these things. We still would have learned all these things about Bitcoin. But let's ask Max. Max, what has Bitcoin done for you?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jeff, that education is the first part, right? Education is the first thing that you should invest in. And that is something that is really, really important, because if you invest everything that you have in the coin and the price in the scarce good, then if the value of that good goes to zero or close to, that just sucks, right? But education is a non-scarce good. The more you have, the better you're off, and nobody can take it away from you. So that is fantastic. And Pirate Beach Bum has on Twitter just a couple days ago a nice tweet that he says that I'd rather be a nobody who is humble than a somebody who thinks they know it all. And that is something that Bitcoin really teaches me, because it shows that it doesn't really matter, if you know everything, because you cannot know everything, especially in such a holistic and complex topic such as Bitcoin. You will never know anything and everything. That's just impossible. So take on what you have and learn as much as you can, and then grow with every time you learn something new, and be delighted on this journey of education. But don't try to, be the one who knows everything. It's impossible.
Right. Constantly learning. It's just like you start learning something, and it leads you down somewhere else, and it leads you down somewhere else. And it's like I have to spend so much time, at least an hour a day, listening, reading the articles just to keep up with all the information, with Saifedean's book, and understanding the miners, and the what happened with the SegWit and UASF. It's just constantly learning. And what I say, Bitcoin, it's like you project onto it what it is. You have good actors in it, and you have bad actors in it. And what I love about Bitcoin is it's computer science, algorithms, all that stuff. It's just going to keep doing what it does, a block every 10 minutes, whether you like it, you don't like it, whether what's going on with the US government, if there's war here. It's just, it's based on, mathematical principles that that humans, with all our flaws and stuff like that, it can't really change it very easily.
Absolutely. And it's been the same all these 5 years. The things I thought about Bitcoin 5 years ago, I still think about them now, even though the price has changed and the media is involved now, and there's hundreds of other YouTubers and there's thousands of other Twitter accounts, and there's just so much explosion here. But still, I have the same core beliefs. And when I explain them to other people, they're like, yeah, I believe those same things too, pretty much. And we can work together and we can do incredible things. So I think it's really good. It's a really great Bitcoin thing.
Yeah, it's really a fine line to walk, whether to onboard as many people as possible, regardless of their ideology and regardless of their belief, which might be of advantage if we just want to get as many users as possible, which is pretty much what the money is, right? But if we put on everyone into this new system, the ideology, the culture of the network will move on, because new ideas will be introduced one by one. And maybe the purest ideology of Bitcoin, the purest cypherpunk movement, will degrade a little bit if we go mainstream, because cypherpunk ideology is definitely not mainstream right now. We hope that something like Bitcoin will advance it and will make it more into the mainstream. But still, this onboarding process will bring also in new ideologies and new philosophies. So we have to be open to all of these.
Right. That's what with Antonopoulos, Andreas was saying. Do we, what is Bitcoin success? How much it goes, and how mainstream or adopters, or can we continue to grow and not sacrifice the qualities that make it great, with censorship and resistance, and being decentralized, unconfiscatable? So that's a very difficult balance, to want to grow and get it going, but to also make sure you still have the core beliefs, the core qualities that made it got here so far. So I listen to a lot of Antonopoulos, and he's able to really communicate a lot of these points very brilliantly in a simple way. So he's a great resource. But yeah, I'll let you guys. I guess I talked enough today, guys. I'll call back soon. But yeah, thanks a lot for the support here, and I'll keep on donating to World Crypto Network. And have a good day, guys.
Thank you
so
very
much,
much, Jeff.
Thanks so much for the call. Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on that Andreas Antonopoulos quote. If we can take these rules forward to the future, that's the victory for Bitcoin. If we lose these rules, if we lose the censorship resistance, if we lose the deflationary nature, if we lose the limited amount of Bitcoin, the cap, all these things, that's when we become not Bitcoin. The mainstream media can't change us. All the people into it now can't change us. The carpetbaggers or the people from the other spaces that are here to eat our lunch, or the finance people who are right all along but weren't really right. None of that can change the rules of Bitcoin. So I think that's a great message.
All right, guys, take care.
Cool. Thanks so much. Give us a call anytime. And you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network. All one word. It's around 10:40 a.m. right now. We'll probably try to keep this going till 11 a.m. If we can get a couple more phone calls. They're telling me in the chat that we have 72 likes. And I can tell you that right now, I'm very impressed. We have 211 live viewers. This is really good for us lately. And I'd just like to ask the 211 people watching to give us a thumbs up. The like button is free. And basically the way that YouTube works is videos with a lot of likes are videos that YouTube knows are good, so they try to show them to other people. So give us a like. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Jeremy here. I'm from Ireland, but I'm actually calling you from Barcelona in Spain today. So drop that on the map.
All right, Barcelona, Spain. I'll bet that's pretty. We're having a competition here between Fort Lauderdale and Barcelona. They both sound lovely. How's your morning going today, Jeremy?
It's going pretty good, Thomas. My wife is actually out shopping at the moment, but I think I prefer to go just listen to the Crypto Network, to be honest. Not spending, you know.
Sure. She's out spending that Bitcoin and you're at home trying to make it.
And you know, I asked her recently what did she think of the price, and she said, "I never check the price. I don't care about the price." I couldn't believe it. You know, she doesn't listen to. You know, she doesn't really watch many articles or anything like that. But I thought, well, maybe she's a maximalist, and I don't even know it. She doesn't even like to talk about the price. She just keeps buying. It's funny.
That's awesome. I think she's really believing in it. You worry about things going the other way. I remember that BitConnect guy. He said that his wife didn't like BitConnect and thought it was a scam, and he had to convince her otherwise.
Oh my God. Well, Thomas, I was just ringing to say that the people I hear on this show, like the normal people, I find it just so inspiring to listen to these people. I mean, I read in an article recently that there was a Chinese investor who had bought 10,000 Bitcoin. And I remember I was I don't know why I wasn't excited when I heard that. You know, I heard it was good that these investors are coming in, but I was a little bit sickened as well that this guy just decides one morning that he wants to buy 10,000. And, you know, it takes me so long just to get one. Like, I'm buying hard every month that I can just to build up one. And I felt that, God, I think I appreciate one Bitcoin a lot more than he, you know, appreciates one. He can just come along and buy them, you know. But again, it's not how much you buy, you know, it's how long you can hold for at the end of the day. But so that's on one side, you know, you have got these investors that buy, you know, big blocks. But then, Thomas, there was a guy on your show a couple of months ago, a young guy who was in his 30s, and he said that he had no bank account. He was from the US. And he also said that he got into Bitcoin at Christmas time, and he was buying all the way down on the way down, you know? And he was buying whatever he could. And when I heard that guy, I just thought, Jesus, if this guy is putting his shoulder to the wheel, buying what he can, I'm going to try and up my game. And you had asked him, Thomas, what, did he have a Trezor? Did he know about that? And he said that he was kind of navigating the whole security aspect of Bitcoin on his own. He didn't have a Trezor yet, but he had a phone which he was using as a kind of a hardware wallet that was completely offline, and he was storing his private keys on that. And he knew all about the seeds, this kind of recovery seed. He knew all about that. And I just felt, God, that's inspiring. Like, that's a lot more inspiring to me than some Chinese guy coming in buying 10,000 Bitcoin. When I hear young people like that, I just thought it was fantastic. But it's stories like that, there's so many of them, Thomas, on this show. It's the people like that, they get me buzzing. Like, that's it.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. That's a great story, and I definitely agree with you. It is better when the little guy gets some Bitcoin rather than the big guy, because I heard a lot of that with all the Ethereum, and my friends telling me about how much money they made and so forth. And they'd have a friend of theirs who was probably already pretty well off, and he entered Ethereum late with $100,000. And I'm just sitting there. You got $100,000 together at one time? You did. And what do you mean? Your friend had $100,000, and he's like, yeah. He entered late with 100K, and then he pulled out 3 million, and now he bought a house in San Francisco. And I'm like, ah. But again, I don't have the 100,000 to put in. I'm not a risk taker, really. I like Bitcoin, and that's about it. And yeah, it's so strange to see these people who haven't sweat, right? They haven't put the equity in, they haven't put their shoulder to the wheel, like you're saying, and they can just come out with these huge profits. But again, it's always been that way, right? It's always been the rich getting richer. But this is our first chance, really, with Bitcoin, something that's new that we can invest in early, and that's why I hope people don't get too shook out by these crazy price movements. And certainly, if you need money for rent and food and so forth, you have to sell. You have to put some aside. Sometimes we make good sells, sometimes we make bad sells. But I really feel like, just from years ago at $300 and now at $7,000 or whatever, that this thing is the thing, and that this is a chance for everybody to get a little bit of hope and to get a little bit more funding for whatever you want to do. If you need more art supplies or if you need more books or whatever, Bitcoin is your chance to do it. So I'm super excited about this. Yeah. Go ahead,
and yes, you are right. The rich guys can buy a bunch of Bitcoin, and they can do it pretty much instantly. But the question is why? Well, because they have already saved previously, right? They could have spent the money yesterday. They could have spent it yesterday to get their third Lamborghini, but well, they didn't. And so right now they do have the cash at hand, not because they got it for free. No, they labored for it, but just not today, but yesterday. So I don't really have a problem with people buying Bitcoin on bulk if they have the capital ready, but because they cannot hold you back. If you want to buy only, let's say, 0.001 Bitcoin, well, yeah, you can do it. The guy who wants to buy 1,000 Bitcoin cannot stop you from doing it. And that is the cool part, where we have people that can buy as much as they want, of course, with the money that they have, and nobody can stop them from buying. That is the beautiful aspect of Bitcoin.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, that's it. And there's always that unit bias, isn't there? We always hear of people coming in buying 1,000 units of Ripple or something like that. But there's an awful lot of satisfaction when you're buying little fractions of Bitcoin and you eventually get to a whole unit. That there's a beauty in that as well. There's a real satisfaction in that as well.
Oh yeah, there is, and you can value all your wealth in Bitcoin, and then say, hey, I got a total wealth of 0.5 Bitcoin, or 5 Bitcoin, or 15 Bitcoin. Doesn't matter, but you can do it.
The nice thing about valuing your wealth that way is that you didn't lose anything this morning. If you have half a Bitcoin this morning and the price went down, you still have half a Bitcoin. You're doing all right.
Exactly, yeah. That's it. Just keep buying and accumulating. And it is still so early because it takes a long time for the masses to change. I mean, if you think about plastic, it's only now people are thinking about how can we do better, than plastic. How can we recycle better? How can we be more efficient? It's taken so long just for the collective consciousness to change, to try and tackle that situation. And it's all about education. And the same with Bitcoin. We're very lucky that there's this channel that we can listen to. There's people that can help us. There's a lot of good information out there, but it's just that. I mean, we're still so early. That's the thing, We're very lucky where we are, and we just have to be patient.
I think it's a great message, Jeremy. Thanks so much for sharing that with the audience today.
Okay, Thomas, and great to see Max on the show as well. I think it's a nice combination, the two of you there now. It's working very well. Talk to you soon, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for the
very much.
call. Enjoy Barcelona. It looks beautiful.
It really does look beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. That was pretty exciting. We had an Irishman in Spain there. It's pretty fun for me. He's just got a great accent. Just love hearing him talk.
Yeah, so where are we going to put the pin? Can we put like 2 pins in both?
We put this one in Barcelona for today, and then if he calls us back from home in Ireland, which I know he's done in the past, but we just started this yesterday or whatever. So yeah, it'd be great if he calls us back from Ireland, or maybe somebody else from Ireland will call. So.
And what are we going to do if someone is using a VPN? What country are we going to then use?
Oh, there's already been people that are like, oh, I don't want to say where I'm from. And then we'll just zoom back out. We'll be like, somewhere in this little blue marble is that person who doesn't want to know where they're from.
In cyberspace.
Somewhere in cyberspace. I know if you scroll over, it goes to the Matrix. Like right here is where the Matrix world is, on the right.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're looking for maybe one more phone call to get us to 11 a.m. You can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. We were checking in with the chat. They said we had about 72 likes. That seems really good. Of course, our goal for all these videos, our new baseline goal is 100 likes. So our goal is to get 100 likes per video. And the only way we can do that is if you guys like the video.
Yeah, and we already got that, so that's amazing. We have 104 likes with 218 people watching right now. So that is fantastic, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, then we did it. 100 likes. Good job, team. Of course, there's 200 of you. Nod, wink, wink. But 100 is good.
Don't get too greedy, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. Even PewDiePie's all like, I've got 50 million subscribers, so I should get 50 million views per video, right? But even PewDiePie gets like 5 to 8. So about 10% of his subscribers show up every day. And a lot of this is the way that they wrote YouTube. I don't know if you guys know, but if you don't watch World Crypto Network shows, YouTube won't recommend them to you. Even if you subscribe, even if you hit the notifications bell, they only show you what you watch. I mean, if you go to the page, you can see the videos. And if you go to the Twitter, you're going to get the messages. But otherwise, YouTube doesn't do much for their subscribers. They want to be that discovery engine. They want to be I watched a video about this and I was so surprised. That's what YouTube wants to be. They don't want to be, I went there and watched my subscriptions. For some reason, they don't like the subscription people. But we do have...
Somehow they want to move to this hot and trending thing that the old stuff did. The old school did this with like the swoosh, breaking news. This is now hot and trending, and everyone is going to talk about it. This is the news story. No, we don't do that. We do subscriptions. We follow the people that we really do respect and that we do want to get the content out. And I would just much prefer a boring timeline with no algorithms whatsoever. Just show me who uploaded what when, and that's all I want to know.
And that's what I do. I bookmark the subscription page and I start there. And when I use the app, I usually go to subscriptions first, even though it takes me to home. And home's very exciting, but it's a bunch of old videos. I need the new videos. So I go to subscriptions and I watch my subscriptions. What I really wish they'd have, and it's shocking they don't, is a way to just play my damn subscriptions in order like a television channel. Shocking, isn't it? Right? Like, that's all I want. Like, put them on the TV, play them in order. I'll let the thing run. I pay for the YouTube Premium, so I have no advertisements and I get to listen to podcasts. And it also supports the people. When you watch a video with YouTube Premium, your watch counts more than the other watch, because YouTube actually gives some money to the content creator from, I don't know, the YouTube Premium Fund or something. They have a bunch of money and they're like, okay, every time you watch a video, we'll give them a little bit more because you supported YouTube. So subscribe to the World Crypto Network, subscribe to YouTube, create an account, give us those thumbs up, give us that subscribe. Even if you don't subscribe to anyone else, you could create a one account, just subscribe to us, just give us those likes, because they're both free and it really does support the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, my philosophy here is like every single video from the get-go. And if you don't like it, then dislike it. And if you really hate it, then put the thumbs down. But like is really something that is a non-scarce good, right? If you hand it out, you didn't give away anything, right? It's just a click. So cool thing is that you can hand out as many as you want for no costs whatsoever. So absolutely keep on doing that.
And just a recap of some of the stories we've been talking about today. The price of Bitcoin doesn't load. Let's see. It's 14,323 Satoshis for $1. The actual price is $6,980. Looks like it's down from a recent high of 7,457. It hit a low of about where we are right now, and there's a possible recovery candle forming. We might have found the bottom, but then again, no one knows where the bottom is, and no one knows where the top is. We checked at the altcoins. We looked at the market cap. As always, you can support this show and support the World Crypto Network by donating Bitcoin or crazy altcoins to the QR codes on your screen right now. You can also donate monthly for as little as $2 a month on your credit card at patreon.com/WCN or patreon.com/madbitcoins, where we're desperately trying to get over that $500 level. $500. Oh, nope, we're going down. We lost a patron. We went from 80 patrons and about 480 to 79 patrons and $474. That means it's almost lined up. If you gave us a $25 or a $26 a month donation, we would break 500 again. We can do it. We've got the Tallycoin fundraiser. Might have gone down a little bit because the price of Bitcoin went down. But we've raised $156.71 towards our goal of $1 million to promote Bitcoin. Our goal is getting further away. At one point, it was around 125 Bitcoins for $1 million. Now it's 143 Bitcoins. So we're going the wrong way on that. But thanks again to everybody for watching the show. Just a little quick from Max. Where can people learn more about you? Check you out on Twitter. Go ahead, Max.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at HillebrandMax. My personal website is towardsliberty.com, where you can especially find my bachelor thesis at towardsliberty.com/anarchy, if you want to support me in that. And for this, I'm currently writing a paper, or a part of the paper, on ethics and natural law principle. So I'm just going to read a really quick paragraph from the great book by Murray Rothbard called The Ethics of Liberty. And we are going to talk about natural law versus positive law. In fact, the legal principle of any society can be established in three alternative ways: by following the traditional customs of the tribe or community, B, by observing the arbitrary ad hoc will of those who rule the state apparatus, or C, by the use of man's reason in discovering the natural law. In short, by slavish conformity of customs, by arbitrary whim, or by man's reason. And this is, of course, the big question: should we have a state dictating what is right and what is wrong, or should we decide on our own moral judgments according to the principles we see all around us? Definitely a great book. You can get it for free, even with the audiobook at Mises.org. A great audiobook by, I think, Rick Rickenbaum, a great speaker. So it's always a pleasure talking to you, and let's see each other on the next show.
All right. And as always, you can, this has been Bitcoin Talk Show. You could call us on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. It's a great time to go ahead and get a Skype account. Get ready to call tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. We're trying to do this every day from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today's Saturday. We're doing this even though it's a weekend. So we hope to be back with you tomorrow on Sunday. Be sure to subscribe to the World Crypto Network down below. Give us a thumbs up and donate to the Bitcoin address or the other crazy altcoin addresses on your screen. Until next time, bye-bye.